The moment Dato' Najib said that I'm going to abolish, I say he will be the first person to say that yes, Dato' Najib is right. we have that. Yeah, we have that. That's why I keep on saying we need people who support, not only Dato' Najib, I mean, in the context of leadership, we need people in the party who support the leadership with articulation, yeah, and not just by sentiments, because the president say A, you must say A. Because the president say B, you must say B. So we need to be constructive in our support to the president in this context, Dato' Sri Najib. Survival of the nation, whether we need leaders who come from, I think basically we need leaders who come from different backgrounds and not just one background. If for lack of a better example, if I was using the three sectors, the state, the business, and the civil society, then perhaps, ideally speaking, the leadership should come from all the three sectors. So I would love to see UMNO and Barisan Nasional fielding candidates coming from, some coming from the party, or, I mean, of course they have to be party members in the first place, but coming from the government, with government experience, some coming from the business experience, some coming from civil society, then you have a good mix. Because what do we mean by a winnable candidate? I plan to speak in the next Supreme Council on this point, but now I'm speaking to you and I'm just saying it out. Because Dato' Najib has always talk about winnable candidate. I think there are two ways of looking at winnable candidate. One is winnable candidate as singular. The other one is winnable candidates as plural, as in a package. People in the first circle, say in constituency A, kawasan parlimen A, to him or to her, it doesn't matter, so long as this candidate will come to my house when I invite for wedding, will attend to my longkang and so on and so forth, then to me he's a winnable candidate. But people living in the second circle may have a different view of a winnable candidate. Yes, I want a good candidate for my constituency because I am a voter in constituency A, but I also want to see the other 211 candidates for the MPs because I want to elect a government and I want to see who are the prospective cabinet ministers, for instance. Where do they come from? So there is a winnable candidate, yes, for each constituency, but there is also the plural, the package. If I were to be a voter, then I believe I live in the second circle. Then I want to see a package because it is not just voting a single MP, but I want to vote in a government. Yeah. I'm not sure if I understand your question on wisdom politics, but my take is this. On the one hand, competency in English is important because it is a global language, yes. On the other hand, we should also work harder on improving the quality of our bahasa. Yeah. We need to do more translation work, both ways, from foreign language to Malay language and from Malay language to foreign language. But what is more important is we need to strengthen the quality of our education system. But that is another topic by itself. Lots of things needs to be done. Issues like, do our universities have soul, or our universities are now soulless? Are we teaching our students the meaning of life, or are we only teaching students how to find work, and so on and so forth? Now, on the last question, when I look at the Arab awakening or the Arab Spring, and then we have now Occupy Wall Street, Occupy London, and Occupy other places too. My take, there are two things happening there. One is a rebel on establishment, as in politics. The other one is a rebel towards conventional economics and business and banking system and financial system. So on the one hand, there is a failure in leadership. Not necessarily the failure of democracy, but rather the failure of leadership. I think this is what we see happening in Tunisia, in the Middle East, in Libya, in Yemen, and perhaps more, we don't know. Simply because people are tired of rulers or government that rules, not so much because they rule over a long period of time, but because they were dictators, because they were not democratic enough. Though the people who went to the streets and demonstrated, who went to the squares and shouted and whatever that they were doing, they may not actually articulate their democratic ideals, but I think from their voices and from the feelings that we can comprehend, we can understand that they want a more democratic government in place. It's going to be a long way. It's not going to be easy. I mean, you cannot imagine Libya. It's not going to be easy. They have never practiced democracy in the past. Egypt, to a certain extent, but it's not going to be easy. But we need to be in solidarity with people who are fighting for their democratic rights. Is it because the middle class is no longer there? Depending on how you look at it, I think it is not so much because of the, in your own word, diminishing middle class. It is simply because people don't believe in the system anymore. Yeah? An author by the name of Pierre Calam, he's French. He wrote a book in 2009 and it's translated into English now. He is no longer using the term economy for economy, but rather he is going back to the 18th century term, which is oeconomy, O-E-conomy, which basically means household management. And I asked him, why is he not using economy? He said, his premise was very simple. We need a new architecture. The financial system has failed, the business system has failed. He's not saying capitalism has failed, but he said whatever institutions that we are having has failed. I remember there's another discourse where someone stood up and said, "Then, do you realize that the superpowers of the world, the number one economy of the world, has the best universities and the best business schools, and yet it is in that very country you are having all this bursts and what have you." Then somebody reminded me, do you remember when Queen Elizabeth visited London School of Economics recently? And the dean or the leader of the school was explaining to the Queen how good the school is, how good the graduates are. And then the Queen simply asked very sharply, "If you are so good, then how come we are in this kind of mess?" And that fellow didn't have the answer and had to politely told the Queen that, "Your Majesty, if I may answer to you in writing later." Okay. And why oeconomy? Because he said he said, Dean, I have talked about new approaches in economy. We talk about solidarity economy and what have you, but because the term is so polluted and it carries so much baggage that it's beyond repair. So I have no choice but to go back to the 18th century where economy was still pure, quote unquote, and when people were using the term white economy. This is not unlike what people in the Islamic Islamic economic thoughts are doing. They are trying to try to Islamize economy. Yeah, some of our good friends in IIUM, good friends in IIM includes Aziz Badillah, yeah, but he's in a different faculty. Are trying to do with Islamic finance and so on and so forth. So I think there is a crying need for us to relook at the whole system, actually. And my wish, and unfortunately it still remains a wish, that the debate in Parliament is not answering these questions. How I wish the debate in Parliament is answering or addressing this kind of question. We are asking our university professors to look at things, to review things, to people like Professor Shamsul Amri, Baharudin, Professor Ulung. He is asking his colleagues to look at a new term called peace economy. What peace economy means, God knows. But already people are talking about, it's basically different way of looking at economy, different way of looking at the finance system. I give an example. I'm working on and this is an open invitation. I owe the Prime Minister a proposal on social entrepreneurship, keusahawanan social. You see, in his new economic model, there are 3 principles. One of the principles is social inclusion. We have to look at the 40% of the population who unfortunately are at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, if you were to read C.K. Prahalat, dah meninggal baru beberapa bulan, about a year ago. According to C.K. Prahalat, the poor is not without money. Okay? The only problem with the poor is they can't afford to buy the products and services offered in a price envelope that is decided by the market of